In a moment of chaos, a trained K-9 named Ranger disobeyed direct orders, but for all the right reasons. At a bustling airport, the German Shepherd sensed danger that no human had noticed. His instincts led him to a young boy being approached by a man posing as an airport official. Ignoring commands, Ranger broke free and intervened just as the man grabbed the boy. The truth unraveled quickly. Ranger had prevented a child abduction tied to human trafficking. His defiance was not disobedience, but an act of courage and loyalty, proving that sometimes a dog's heart sees what others miss. In the heart of a crowded school auditorium, a seemingly routine K-9 demonstration turned into an extraordinary moment of revelation. Rex, a disciplined and obedient German Shepherd, was performing alongside his handler, Officer Mark, when he suddenly broke formation. Without warning, Rex lunged at a large, faded mural hanging above the stage, ripping through the canvas with an urgency no one could explain. What lay behind the torn painting stunned everyone: a hidden compartment containing Cold War-era documents, maps, and even a locked box marked classified. It was a piece of long-buried history, hidden in plain sight, within the walls of a middle school, unknowingly built over a secret intelligence station. Rex's instincts uncovered what no human could have guessed. The school had been used as a covert communication outpost decades earlier. News spread quickly, and the town became a center of national interest. Historians, government officials, and even former intelligence agents emerged to confirm the discovery. At the center of it all stood Rex the K-9, who tore through not only a painting, but a forgotten chapter of American history. For his service, Rex was honored as a hero, but for those who witnessed it, he became a symbol of truth that no one expected. It began as a chaotic morning in the Willow Creek neighborhood, when a deep, desperate howl shattered the calm. A large German Shepherd had somehow wedged his head between the cold iron bars of a gate, panicking and thrashing in terror. Neighbors rushed out, trying everything: dish soap, gentle, coaxing, even calling animal control. But the dog only grew more distressed. As the crowd grew, no one knew what else to do. That's when something completely unexpected happened. A baby, just barely old enough to walk, crawled from a nearby porch toward the gate. His name was Noah, and his innocent curiosity led him right to the trapped dog. Gasps rose from the crowd, terrified of what the frantic animal might do. But the moment Noah reached the dog, everything changed. The German Shepherd froze, his wild eyes softening. Noah giggled unafraid and reached through the bars to touch the dog's nose. It was as if the child's innocence calmed the panic that no adult could reach. The dog exhaled a slow, shaky breath and even licked the baby's tiny fingers. In that quiet moment, the neighborhood witnessed a powerful truth. Sometimes the purest comfort comes not from strength, but from gentleness. A bond unspoken and beautiful, formed between innocence and fear. In a quiet auction hall filled with chatter and the soft shuffle of paws, a moment unfolded that no one could have predicted. A young girl, barely a teenager, stepped forward alone, holding a faded photograph of her late father, a fallen police officer posing proudly beside his loyal K-9 partner, a German Shepherd named Shadow. The dog, now retired and up for auction, stood silently in a kennel as potential buyers raised bids without knowing his past. But the girl did. She wasn't just bidding on a dog, she was fighting for the last living connection to her father. With each paddle lift, her heart raced, knowing she couldn't outbid wealthy competitors. Just as her hope began to fade, she stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear, and told the crowd, "That's my father's dog." Silence fell. Even the auctioneer hesitated. Shadow, hearing her voice, pressed against the kennel bars, recognizing her. A retired officer in the crowd, once her father's partner, stepped forward and pledged to cover the difference. The crowd erupted in applause, not just for the bid, but for the loyalty and love between a child, her father's memory, and the dog who had once saved lives. As Shadow was reunited with the girl, tail wagging and eyes soft, everyone in that auction hall witnessed something more valuable than money, a bond that not even death could break. It was a moment of love legacy and the healing power of loyalty that no one would ever forget. It was supposed to be a simple airport patrol. Officer Jake and his trusted German Shepherd K9 Ranger had walked these terminals countless times. But on this particular day, something was different. Ranger, normally composed and obedient, grew tense near Gate 14. His ears twitched, muscles coiled, and his low growl vibrated through his chest. At first, Jake was puzzled. There was no apparent threat, just a young boy sitting nervously with a backpack and a sharply dressed man approaching him. But Ranger knew. His instincts screamed louder than any training. He lunged forward, dragging Jake through the crowd, eyes locked on the man now speaking softly to the boy. The stranger claimed to be sent by the child's mother, his tone, gentle demeanor polished, but something about him didn't sit right with the dog. When Ranger barked and bared his teeth, chaos erupted. The man grabbed the boy's arm, but Ranger broke free and intercepted, snapping at his sleeve and forcing him to release the child. Security closed in, restraining the suspect. What followed shocked everyone. The man's credentials were fake, and his intentions were grim. He was a human trafficker. Ranger had sensed the danger before any human eye could. Thanks to his defiance, the boy was saved. The terminal, once bustling with everyday travel, now stood in awe. Passengers wept, officers praised, and the boy clung tightly to Ranger's fur, whispering, "He saved me." Jake knelt beside his partner, no longer concerned about disobedience or broken protocol. Ranger had done what no training could teach. He listened to something deeper: instinct, loyalty, and courage. In that moment, he wasn't just a K9 officer. He was a hero. And for one family, his actions meant everything. Some call it intuition. Others call it a miracle. But all agreed, Ranger had changed a life forever. It began like any other quiet morning in the neighborhood until the frantic barking shattered the stillness. A large German Shepherd had somehow gotten his head stuck between the cold iron bars of a gate. He thrashed and cried, his powerful body slamming against the metal, driven by panic and fear. Neighbors rushed to help, offering dish soap tools, gentle words, but nothing worked. The more they tried, the more the dog panicked. Time was running out. Then from the porch, a baby named Noah crawled into view. No one noticed at first until he reached the gate and sat just inches from the dog. Fear gripped the crowd, but to everyone's astonishment, the dog froze. The panicked growls stopped. His body softened. Noah giggled and reached through the bars to touch the shepherd's nose. The once frantic dog closed his eyes, let out a shaky sigh, and gently licked the baby's hand. The moment was surreal, pure, and quiet. Somehow this innocent child had calmed a storm that grown adults couldn't. It reminded everyone present of a simple truth: connection doesn't always come from strength or knowledge. It often comes from purity, trust, and love. That morning, a baby reminded a neighborhood of the quiet power of innocence. The stories we've reflected on remind us of the timeless truth that loyalty, instinct, and unconditional love often come from the most unexpected places, especially from animals. In moments of fear, confusion, or even danger, it's not always logic or protocol that saves us, but the quiet wisdom of trust and connection. Whether it's a German shepherd pulling a child from harm, or a loyal dog staying beside a hospital bed through the darkest night, these tales speak to something deeply human: the need to be seen, protected, and understood. For many older adults who have lived through life's losses and witnessed changing times, these narratives offer comfort and clarity. They remind us that even as the world evolves, some values remain constant: courage, compassion, and the healing power of presence. In a time when society often rushes past emotion in favor of efficiency, these stories urge us to slow down and remember that heroism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's found in a soft gaze, a loyal paw, or a silent sacrifice. And perhaps most importantly, they remind us that no matter our age, we are never too old to witness miracles or to be part